We'll call the Finance, Insurance, and Section 16 Lands Committee to order. Please stand for the invocation and pledge to be led by Ms. Stacy Soule.
Lord, be with us during this meeting in dealing with the agenda at hand. May we treat each other's opinions with respect. May we learn how to reject ideas without rejecting people and share visions, although we may not share the same needs. May this meeting be for each of us an opportunity to be servants to the people we represent. We humbly ask this in your name. Amen. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just let the record show that all three committee members, Vice Chair Mike Lagarde, committee member Stacy Soule, and myself are all present. Also Maybelle Trahan, Roger D. Hart, and Matt Ford, and Superintendent Armstrong, members of his staff. Item 3, consideration of approval for group health stop-loss reinsurance renewal for 2023. The committee recommends that the board approve the renewal proposal from HCC Insurance Company for group health stop-loss reinsurance with a specific deductible of $450,000 per claim with $250,000 tiered split fund for an estimated annual cost of $550,200.72 effective January 1, 2023 through December 31, 2023.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Soule, seconded by Mr. Lagarde. Any members of the public wish to address this motion? Ms. Soule?
Yes.
Mr. Lagarde?
No, sir.
Any members of the board? Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion passes. Item 4, consideration of approval for revised budgets for the 22-23 fiscal year. The committee recommends that the board approve the attached revised budgets for general operating fund, 1 cent sales tax fund, half-cent sales tax fund, and 3/4 cent sales tax fund for the 22-23 fiscal year.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Soule,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Lagarde. Any members of the public wish to address this motion? Ms. Soule? Mr. Lagarde?
No, sir.
Any members of the board? Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion passes. Item 5, consideration of approval of the original budgets for 22-23 fiscal year. The committee recommends that the board approve the attached original budgets for the disaster fund, building fund, workers' compensation fund, loss fund, and group insurance claims fund.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Soule, seconded by Mr. Lagarde. Any members of the public wish to address this motion? Ms. Soule? Mr. Lagarde?
No, sir.
Any other members of the board? Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion passes. Item 6, consideration of approval of the budget revisions for the special revenue funds for 22-23 fiscal year. The committee recommends that the board approve the attached budget revisions for special revenue funds for the 22-23 fiscal year.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Soule,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Lagarde. Any members of the public wish to address this motion? Ms. Soule? Mr. Lagarde?
No, sir.
Any other members of the board? Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion passes. Item 7, consideration of approval of bid results for ink and toner cartridges. The committee recommends that the board approve and accept the lowest bid received, meeting all specifications for ink and toner cartridges from the Treehouse for a 12-month period beginning December 7th, 2022, with the option to renew for 2 additional 1-year periods under the same terms and conditions and upon mutual agreement between Terrebonne Parish School Board and the Treehouse.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Soule,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Lagarde. Any members of the public wish to address this motion? Ms. Soule, Mr. Lagarde,
No, sir.
any other members of the board? Yes, Mr. Ford.
So with the option to renew, we will still send out bid requests next year, and if they don't come back better, then we can always fall back on this one, right? Is that how it works?
But I'm going to try to answer that. I think it's, if we renew, it's at the same terms and conditions, and we will not send bids
We
out.
can renew at the same price, or we can go out for bid
However, the prices have been going up a lot, so if the vendor is willing to renew, we'd like to do that option.
Chances are we won't get a better price, so we'll.
Chances are we will not get a better price.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Any other questions? Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion passes. Item 8, consideration of approval to renew the catalog contract for materials and supplies for teaching. The committee recommends that the board approve the renewal of the catalog contract for materials and supplies for teaching with Star Office World at the current terms and conditions for a period of 1 year.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Solé,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Lagarde. Any members of the public wish to address this motion? Ms. Solé?
No, sir.
Mr. Lagarde?
No, sir.
Any other members of the board? Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion passes. Item 9, consideration of approval to renew campsite leases on Section 16 lands. The committee recommends that the board approve the renewal of the following campsite leases on Section 16 lands for a period of 10 years beginning December 21, 2022 through December 20, 2032, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. And those two bids are on the next page.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Solé,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Lagarde. Any members of the public wish to address this motion? Ms. Solé, Mr. Lagarde,
No, sir.
any members of the board? Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion passes. Item 10, matter bearing upon Hurricane Ida FEMA update. Ms. Bro.
In your packets, there's a couple of pages near the back with some information about the hurricane.
On the last page.
Okay, we have a summary of our ongoing activity there. We're continuing to meet with our project managers every week. The architects are nearly finished with all of their first round of damage estimates. Most of them have started their design documents for permanent repairs, which is the next step in getting us to go out for bid for some of these permanent repairs. I've listed here an updated list of all of the notice to proceeds that the board has approved to date. We'll be bringing some more of those to you in December at the December Building Committee. So we will add to that list next month. The bids that we've advertised so far, if you look at the third page of that little handout, that we've had 5 bids that we have advertised, and we have 6 more that we have either recently awarded or we will award this week. And then on the next page is a FEMA update. This is a summary of all of the project worksheets that have been submitted to FEMA so far. It's a total of $51 million worth of project worksheets that have been submitted to FEMA. So far, we have about $47.9 million in project worksheets that have been obligated. That obligated doesn't mean that the check's in the mail, it just means that it's kind of cleared another hurdle and it's another step in the process. But it does mean that things are moving through the process, which is really good news for us. And then the last page of that summary is just a summary of the revenues that we've received so far. We know about the $10 million in insurance proceeds that we received right after the storm. We've received about 110,000 in FEMA proceeds, actual, cash that they've paid us so far. And then I have a summary at the bottom of the checks that we've issued to vendors to date so far since the hurricane. And that combined with the purchase orders that we have outstanding for materials and supplies, for projects that we've issued purchase orders for contents, is about $77 million. So when you look at what we've spent, $77 million versus what's obligated at 50 million, we're doing really, really well in the process of getting things through to FEMA and hopefully back to us where we're paid very soon.
Any questions for Ms. Bro? Thank you, Ms. Bro. And, Mr. DeHart?
Ms. Brewer, very briefly, all these project managers' time and what it's costing us, is that gonna be reimbursable?
It is reimbursable at 90%, yes, sir.
90?
90%, yes, sir.
We don't know what project.
Yes, sir.
Tighten up the debt.
Any other questions? Okay. Item 11, matter bearing upon monthly budget to actual comparison report and the monthly sales tax collection. Ms. Klingman?
Good evening. In your packet, you have your normal monthly to budget actual comparisons for our 5 major funds and also the sales tax collection update, and we are 24.84% greater this September than we were last September.
Any questions for Ms. Klingman? Thank you, Ms. Klingman.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn. Moved by- We are adjourned.
Could show that myself,
Vice Chair Mr. Ford and Member Dr. Tron are here, as well as other board members, Mr. Hamner, Mr. DeHart, Mr. Lagarde, and Ms. Soleil, and members of the superintendent and members of his staff. First item is the matter pertaining to Game On grant from Chevron, and it's an information only, and Mr. Cotton will give that information.
Good evening. So recently, the school district received a grant from Chevron in the amount of $50,000. And they've supported us over the last 10 years with STEM funding. And so this year, we are going to kick off esports at each of the 4 high schools. We're looking to potentially move into some of the junior highs depending on their capacity, but definitely each of the 4 high schools. And we're hoping that esports is going to engage some kids that are sometimes underrepresented or just don't have the, don't participate in the traditional sports and extracurricular activities. And so, you know, we're trying to get those kids involved, and then hopefully that will lead to a STEM-filled career in the future.
So, Mr. Cotton, can you elaborate a little bit on what type of sports this is?
Sure. So esports, and so I had to do a little homework when we did the proposal also, but for those that don't know, esports is competitive gaming, and so it's video games, it's kids playing video games. Right, and adults, right? And so, but it's at a competitive level, and so it's recently been adopted as a sport under the LHSAA, and so and kids can even get scholarships to Nichols. Nichols currently offers 10 scholarships for esports, and so we're looking to set them up for success as they move into that college, right? You know, when kids are playing video games, and especially online video games, there's collaboration. You see the kids with the headsets and whatnot, and so there's problem-solving skills that they're trying to do. There's communication skills they have to master, teamwork that they're working together to accomplish a goal. And so, you know, it's untraditional, and it's probably new to a lot of us, but it's a growing market across the nation.
So it's fun but academic.
Absolutely. And we're looking to get those kids engaged and excited.
Success, yeah.
Correct.
If I'm not mistaken, like they're one of the top 5 countries in their sports.
Yes, there are some kids that are coming to, yeah, they're coming to Nichols just to participate in the esports
Yeah.
program. So,
Hey, any other questions?
Just a comment.
Mr.
you can visit one of your schools and give them some competition.
Mr. Ford.
I would like to see, so a lot of these tournaments they have draw a lot of attention and bring a lot of, business and commerce to the area. So I'd like to see us host a tournament at some point. I think that would be a great idea. You know who else does give scholarships for these esports and these competitive games? Is the military. They have the Air Force and the Army, some of the Navy, but mostly Air Force and Army. They have some really lucrative opportunities for these kids. So I think it's a great opportunity to bring that here and kind of set the bar. Kind of sad to see Mr. Lee left Fletcher, because he was one of the ones that kind of got this all started around here. It's a good opportunity. I'm glad to see this is going on.
We're looking forward to it. We're having some growing pains, but we'd love to be able to host a competition in the future.
How are you going to spend the $50,000?
On equipment, y'all know technology is expensive, so computers, game systems, stuff of that nature. But and to participate in the LHSAA, it's $1,800 per game.
Oh,
So
you use it for
there's a fee.
fees as
Yeah.
well? Okay, gotcha. And maybe even travel if you.
Correct.
Competitively. Yes, Dr. Strahan?
I know the computers for gaming is a lot more expensive than a regular desktop, because I have a son that's waiting for it, so he spends a fortune for the machines that's necessary. It has to be a huge memory and a really fast machine.
Correct. And
It can't be done ordinarily
wants to be able to build their own machines, and that's part of the, correct.
Well, and I'm glad to see the promotion and credit to Chevron for
Yes.
that. The publicity
We're
is
very
always good.
Thankful for their support, continued support.
Thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda is consideration for approval of the request for proposals for the results of a wide area network. And the recommendation is that the board approve and accept the highest qualified score, meeting all specifications for wide area network services from AT&T, 840 Poydras Street, New Orleans, Louisiana, for a total yearly cost of $149,640, including warranty, services, and licenses for a 3-year period with an optional 2-year renewal of the same yearly rate, subject to board attorney review, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. Moved by Mr. Ford.
Second.
Second by Dr. Trahan. First of all, would you, Mr. Babin, like to comment on this?
But the only thing is, we have 2 providers that's in the area, AT&T, and who we currently have is Unity Fiber. AT&T had it before, they lost in the competition last time. So this time only 2 competed because they have fiber in place. It's kind of hard to compete when somebody else has the resources in place. So, and they came in good this time. So Unity was a good contract, but they knocked a couple $100,000 off of, on this contract. So
Okay,
it's
and-
cheaper than what we paid for the old
Oh.
T1 lines and also.
That's great.
So it is. And it's also E-rate funded too.
Right.
So while the whole contract is $748,200 for 5 years, our total out of pocket is $74,820 for the for full 5 years.
Oh, that's an important piece that
Yeah,
needs to
90%
be
funded.
mentioned. Yeah. Okay, any public comment? Mr. Ford? Dr. Strahan?
By wide area network, you mean internet providers?
No,
Is that what it is? What
It's the
exactly is it?
connection between the central office and all of our schools, but the internet travels through that circuit.
It's to create that
So
network.
it's the network that ties all of the little local area networks together. So each school is a local area network, and they have this one fiber channel that ties them into here, and then we're tied into the internet here.
And I know AT&T has fiber now because they've been digging up in front of my house, and I'm way down the bar, and they're putting fiber down in my area, so I know that it's all over.
The first project, they put 30 miles in,
Mhm.
and then they really started putting fiber in, so.
Yeah.
You have a
That's a lot.
comment? Mr. Ford?
So I just want to let you guys know, one of the reasons why AT&T would be even interested in offering this better rate is because Terrebonne Parish is the largest employer in this parish. And they know that if, employees are talking and AT&T is their go-to, it makes it a little bit easier for them to consider AT&T on their personal and private
Mhm.
line and stuff. And there's a lot of speculation about the fiber and how effective it is and how good it works. And if they hear that we're using it and this gets out, then it's going to generate more revenue and more business for them too. So it's a win-win. We're going to take advantage of that one too.
Any other board members? Any objections from committee members? Hearing none, so moved. Number 4, consideration for approval of request for proposal results for network core switch upgrades. And the recommendation is that the board approve and accept the highest qualified score for network core switch upgrades from the Transformix 6867 Bluebonnet Road, Baton Rouge, for a total cost of $929,667.20, including warranty services and licenses for a 3-year period.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ford.
Second.
Second by Dr. Trahan. Any public comment? Mr. Babin, would you like to comment on this?
This is also E-rate funded at 85%. This is a one-time purchase. We were only replacing 30 switches. This is the device that ties in a wide area network to the rest of the campus. So it's that one critical switch, they call it a core switch, The fiber comes in, connects to it, and then all of the other switches around the campus connects to it, converges on that. Most of those in place right now, except the ones who were recently replaced, like the hurricane and some we had to replace, those 30 have been around since Katrina, and they're very expensive. I mean, so we did well then. We actually had those 90% funded, or 85% funded for Katrina, and we got by cheap then, and we used them for 14 years, 15 years, whatever. And so the total cost on these after E-rate's $139,450, and hopefully we can get at least 10 years out of them. So there's no other recurring costs on
Okay, Mr. Ford?
So my only question is, because it includes the warranty services and licenses, when it comes to a malfunction or one of them breaking or just giving problems, are we gonna be allowed to troubleshoot and maybe remedy?
them. Absolutely.
So we don't have to wait for them to come
No,
in?
we actually, the only reason we were required for the licensing to carry it, the warranty, we usually just part swap with them. We
Okay.
identify it, they send us another one. In some cases, it's burnt, they cross-ship another one. Sometimes it's a remanufactured one that they've recovered already, and then they ship us another one. And we keep some spares on hand, so a lot of the warranty, that used to be one of our most expensive contracts, is the warranty on this equipment. We come off a lot better just carrying the licensing and carrying a few spares. Some of them have a replacement warranty on them anyway, that we can, if it burns up, we can send it in. It might take 2 months to get it back or get a replacement. But we can wait the 2 months and stick one of our own pieces of equipment in instead of paying a premium to be able to swap them out overnight. So we've done that for years. It's saved $250,000 a year probably.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Trine, any comment? Okay, any board members? Any objections by the committee members? Hearing none, so moved. Number 5, consideration for approval of requests for proposals for results for small form factor modules. And the recommendation is that the committee recommend that the board approve and accept the highest qualified score meeting all specifications for small form factor modules from Transformix 6867 Bluebonnet Boulevard, Baton Rouge, for a total cost of $78,205.92, including warranty services.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ford. Second by Dr. Trahan. Any public comment? Mr. Babin, any information about this particular recommendation?
These are little devices that look like a large flash drive. On the newer switches we're getting, the ports where you go to plug things in aren't there. It's just a hole in the chassis. So what we're buying here is 312 of those little adapters. You plug them in, and then we can plug in our wires to our other switches. And actually, on the other contract, it came with one optical that the fiber plugs in. These are additions, so we have to break out the RFP to do them separate. And so those just plug in, and because they're a Cisco product, they automatically fall into the warranty, the 3-year warranty of the other one. They were more expensive than some of the generics, but they would be excluded from the warranty. And we absolutely need these things to fall within the warranty. The warranty is $144,000, not counting our discounts and all. So we definitely want that to fall in the warranty. After E-rate, and this is really a one-time purchase, we buy them, put them in, it's $11,730.
Thank you.
Not bad.
No. Ms. Ford, do you have any comments?
Nope.
Dr. Trahan, any more comments?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Any committee members? All right. Any objections? Hearing none, so moved. Number 6 is a matter pertaining to curriculum updates, information only, and Cheryl DeBreeze sent this information to us. Thank you.
Okay, so what I did was I just did a couple of slides on some of the programs for federal, just to kind of update you mid-year, kind of where we are with our numbers and what's going on. Pre-K, we requested 770 seats with LA4 funding, and we have 730 eligible students now in pre-K. But we have a total of 792 sitting in our classes. Right now, we're working with Maria Weiss and Joanne Lejean to move toward online registration for that process for pre-K. We're also going through a desk audit for LA4 and that's providing attendance information and eligibility information. McKinney-Vento and Migrant, and I included these two together because these two departments work a lot together with a lot of their activities and initiative. We have 1380 in McKinney-Vento homeless. You know, before Ida, I think it was like 600 to 800 in the district. So we doubled that. You know, last year we saw a lot coming in, and this year, every year you have to recertify those kids, and we're at 1380. We did a voucher event last year, and we're gonna do it again this year. That was a really big hit with parents, and it's something that families needed. We're gonna do it again, but we're gonna expand. We're gonna add vouchers for jackets and coats that they can get from Jake's, because I know as a school principal, a lot of times these kids, the jackets they had were hand-me-downs. They were pretty ugly. So we want to do that for them as well. And what we're going to do is do it like at East Homa Gym like we did last time, and they'll be able to pick up their uniform voucher, backpacks with supplies, their hygiene kits, as well as a jacket voucher. So that's going to be coming up. We also do programs for the high school kids. Those kids that are in the Jump Start program, they are going to take a field trip to Oceaneering and Young Memorial Community College in Morgan City to give them some options and some ideas. We also provide ACT prep and boot camp for those kids that are on the college career track. McKinney-Vento and Migrant also use some of their budgets to purchase summer program enrichment and remediation supplies. This last summer, Migrant did some STEM kits, and they encouraged participation, and it was a raffle at the end for parents. Whoever sent in pictures of them doing it with the child, they were able to get their name in the drawing to win an Oculus set, which is like a virtual reality thing, and that was a big hit. So we're going to continue to do that as well. We also have 6 seasonal tutors, teachers that are in the schools at those schools that have high numbers of McKinney-Vento or Migrant. And like I said, they cross over between the two funds, so that way we could have one para to be able to service both those subgroups, okay? We would like to have more, but unfortunately, that's all we could find.
Can I have a question about both the LA4 and the pre-K and then the McKinney-Vento and the Migrant? Of both of those are grant programs. Of those grant programs, what costs are not covered by those grants that the system has to pay for? In other words, teachers and all of the special programs that you're talking about, the giveaways and the...
The only thing that I'm aware of that the school board, like general, would be like benefits of some of those employees that are funded through their grants.
The benefits are not paid by the grants. If they pay the salary, they should pay the benefits as well.
I don't think so. Yes?
Yeah, you can't split salary and benefits between two.
Then I'm not sure of anything coming out of, anything that would come out of general
So
fund
all
that's
of it-
not covered in that grant.
Okay, so teachers and everything are covered, okay.
Yes, like
That's
those
good.
seasonal tutors, yes, that's all
Okay.
seasonal.
Good.
L program, we have 5 L teachers in the district. That this year we've changed what we're doing with L. Before, those teachers were going in and just pulling students. We have actual classes of L students that are either newcomers, level 1s and 2s. Yes.
Like the L, like
The limited English.
it's changed, the
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
English learners.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm, yes.
Different acronym.
Right.
Yeah, thank you
sorry.
for clearing
Yes.
that
So they're going in, they actually have a roster of students they pull and have a class every day with. And they're utilizing language tree curriculum that we purchased through those funds. They're having, in that class, they're doing small group instruction, they're doing direct instruction, they also have access to the virtual program that's on their Chromebooks. Also with L, we have those elementary schools that have high numbers of L students, and we have paras at those schools, Acadian, Cotobai Blue, Honduras, and Village East. Those are the schools that have the highest population of L.
Just for conversation, it's roughly what, 25%?
The highest, I think, was Honduras was about 30%.
Wow.
30 to 35%.
Wow.
That's
That's big.
It's a small school, but it has a lot of L students. What we've also done this year is weekly, we meet as a PLC with the L teachers and we look at data and we discuss their issues because this is new. This is not what we've done before in the past, and look at our next steps. And just this last week, we had a PLC discussing their SLTs and what their data looks like, and the difference from last year to this year with discussions on those teachers is they can give me specific feedback on the students they're teaching and where they are and what they need to do to improve them, which is not a conversation that we had before. So I see good things coming by doing this. Yes?
I know you said we have those 5 EL
Mhm.
teachers. Do we have any more that stay at federal? Because I
No.
know, no. So
Mm-mm.
if a Lisa Park incident happens and a Spanish-speaking parent comes in,
Mhm.
who goes?
Okay, so that's an interpreter, a language interpreter.
Okay.
You might be confusing,
Okay.
maybe. We have actually, because we've removed those L teachers are not at federal, they only come to federal on Friday afternoons, they're in the schools. The secretary in the L program was a translator, she's able to do both. So we do have someone at federal that can speak both languages, yes. And in Indian programs, we currently have about 1,560 students. We had our first quarterly meeting in October, and that was a success. We had lots of parents. We gave out book sacks with supplies. We're scheduled to have our second quarterly meeting in January, and it's going to be a craft night for families. Also, we have November is National Native American Month, and we have 16 schools that have scheduled presentations at their schools. I had included a calendar, of the presentations. Oh, it's not there. If you would like to see the calendar for the presentations, I can get it for you if you're interested. Also, Nichols, Channing Parfait is a professor at Nichols.
Mhm.
He is going to Ellender and South Terrebonne, and he's scheduled to do like a little 30-minute sit and get Q&A with our Indian students of what his experience was at Nichols when he went, to try to bridge that gap of those students not wanting to go to college. So that's something new we're doing this year. Also, Mr. Kirby Verrett's role has changed significantly. He was doing a lot of attendance and, home visits, and we feel like he's best supported in the schools, being that extra resource, communicating with those teachers, and getting them the academic resources needed. So that's his role.
Cheryl, they had a Native American grant that ran for 5 years and
NYCP.
expired last year,
Mhm.
and they rewrote. Did they hear anything about
Mm-mm.
the new grant?
Mm-mm.
When do y'all anticipate
Mm-mm.
hearing if you get awarded?
I don't think that was rewritten.
Oh, I was understanding that it was. I thought that's what they told me, because Nichols was
Mhm.
participating in that as well.
I'd have to check.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it?
That's it. All right.
Any other questions?
Just one comment. Everything you're doing is amazing. It hits so many kids in so many different areas and so many different backgrounds. I just wanted to share how I dealt with ESL when I was a teacher. and computers had just came out, and we really didn't even know what to do with them yet. But I had a Vietnamese child in my classroom, and I taught self-contained. And he had a little EL teacher that came once a week, but that didn't help, but for 1 hour, one day out of the 5 days. I used to download Vietnamese newspapers that he could understand, and his little eyes would light up, he could understand and read it. I had to make sure, though, I passed it by someone, because I didn't know if I could, I had to make sure it was okay. But it was, I mean, the teacher was totally on their own. All of the resources they have now was just amazing, comparatively to where it was not so long ago.
When did they actually change ESL? I mean, is that offensive, they decided, and that's why they need to do EL?
No, it's because, so although a majority of the students are of Spanish heritage, the dialects are so much different. And it's not just Mexico anymore. It's Honduran, it's South, it's even like other places in South America, Cuban, they're all coming in, merging here. So ESL was sort of limited.
Well, is that it's English as a second language is what it stood for, so they all have that as a second language, basically.
Yeah. For the most part. I have a student who's got Down syndrome, and he speaks Vietnamese at home, and he's limited in his English and his Vietnamese, not learning Vietnamese to try to communicate with him like his parents do, but he's also a U.S.
All right, thank you, Cheryl, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Move to adjourn, second by Dr. Strahan. Public comment? All right, we adjourn.
Bravo.